I'm Helen Norbury, and this is Becoming Unapologetically Me, the show all about authentic self-expression with expert guests from the fields of health, leadership, and mindset. This show is here to show you that you don't need to conform to the expectations that friends, family, and society have of you. And actually, what we can unearth when we find the courage to become the unapologetic version of who we are. Grab a cup of coffee and get your notepad out for this week's episode. Hello, and welcome back to Becoming Unapologetically Me. Today, I'm really excited to talk to Nimisha Mehta. So Nimisha is going to talk to us today about the psychology of fashion and how we can show up in our authentic style. I love this topic because it's something I've really noticed on my personal journey as how differently people perceive you based on your appearances. And actually one of my soapbox things that I like to talk about because it kind of annoys me that that's the case, but I'm sure we're going to dive into this much more over the conversation. So Nimisha, I know this has been a journey of personal transformation for you. So can you take us back to the beginning maybe and just share a bit about some of those defining moments of your childhood and your upbringing? What really helped to shape who you are today?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ellen, for having me.
Pleasure.
I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. And for me, fashion wasn't a big deal as well. I just thought it is what it is. And I like to dress nicely, but it's not like it was a big part of my life or that I thought it was, bigger than it was just a part of what you do on a daily basis,
Yeah.
And for me, life also comes with a lot of restrictions that came with how I was brought up. So I was brought up in an Indian household, born and brought up in East Africa, very, very strict household as well. It tends to be that when you move out of India, you just kind of become very, very old school. You stay old school, even though the actual country and the culture has moved forward.
Yeah.
We, the ones who move out, don't tend to. I was also surrounded by a community of, similar background and culture. And everyone just grew up like this. We had restrictions in how we dressed as women. And there was certain things that we didn't wear because it was too revealing or whatever you want to call it, like shorts, mini shorts or whatever, mini dresses weren't a thing, and so on and so forth. So these were the restrictions that came with growing up as an Indian woman. And honestly, I just thought this was normal.
Yeah.
I thought it was so normal to be this way. And I had a friend, I went to international schools and I had friends that wore shorts from other cultures. And, I thought that was fine. It was lovely on them, but I didn't feel that I would look great in it because that made me of a certain character.
Right. Yeah.
Which is the mindset that you get because it's been passed down to you.
Yes. Yeah.
So for me, that's where the work begins, is that what do you think of yourself, really?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting, isn't it? When you think about it logically, to have clothes assign meaning to your character and your personality, that kind of feels weird. Although I get that it's very normal, not just in your culture, but in many different cultures, that what you wear says something about you. But it's a big burden to carry as well, isn't it?
Yes, it is, especially if you don't want to carry it.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you choose to do it. It's a complete other thing that you don't have a choice.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you are afraid of the labels that you will receive as a result. So it gets a little bit tricky when your mindset is already made up when you're a child. And then I grew up and I had a lot of health challenges in my 20s. So a lot of my years between my 20s and my 30s was basically taking care of myself. So there was no thinking about how I looked or how, I shopped or anything. It was just about taking care of my health. And basically, if I tell you what my mindset was basically my friends had moved forward or were moving forward in their lives. They were graduating and moving forward. And I was stuck in one place. I almost felt like I was on a highway going on a car and I was on a standstill because my car had stalled and everyone was just zooming past me. That's how it felt. And so for me, anything related to me was health. It had nothing to do, I had no career, no, I look so great in this, no, let me do some self-love, self-care, let me find my confidence. It was my identity was I was this, and I needed to take care of it, which was my health situation.
Yeah. So had you had challenges prior to that, prior to your 20s, with your body image, with your self-confidence and mindset, or did they all sort of come about related to your health challenges?
I think it's both. So I began with having body issues in terms of my culture. It's very common for an auntie who to come up to you and say you're fat. Very, very common. It's not even looked down upon. Now it is, thank God. But back in the day, it was so normal. It was like she's just stating a fact.
Wow.
And you need to do something about it. It was not looked down upon. Your own family did that to you. There was a lot of talking about color and how you looked. And there was a lot of pressure on being a certain way. And not just from society, but from your own people. And that plays in my mind a lot. And I know that I grew up a people pleaser, a complete people pleaser. I don't think I had an image for myself. I just went with the image that I was given, and I just fit myself into that image somehow. And that was a big struggle. And then the health stuff happened. And now I was just like, oh my God, I feel unworthy, not beautiful at all. And my hair was falling, and I was just in sweats all day. I would just wear sweats, and that was my life. So I stopped thinking about myself completely.
It's really interesting, actually. I went to a talk fairly recently by Gabor Mate, a fellow Canadian of yours, and he was talking about how female people pleasers, specifically, I think it was something like 80% of autoimmune diseases, but how we know that our body is responding and reacting to all of these actions that we're taking. So as you're telling that story, I'm thinking, gosh, this is exactly what Gabor Mate was talking about, where you've people pleased, kind of lost your identity within trying to please everybody else. And then your body has got to a point and gone, no more. I can't deal with this anymore. I need to make a stand and kind of say enough is enough. So, obviously a really tough thing for you to go through, but also I can understand it from a sort of a scientific perspective based on what I've learned from Gabor Mate as well. So yeah, super, super tough. I read some statistics recently, actually, about children and young people, and they were saying that 40% of primary school age children have already been on a diet to try and lose weight. So that's before the age of 11. And then children as young as 7 or between 7 and 9 have reported concerns about their weight and body dissatisfaction. Wow, at 7 years old, you should be playing with your toys and reading books and having a great life, not worrying about what your body looks like and weight and, all of those sorts of factors. So what are your thoughts on it? And, this is a cross-cultural study. So what's the role that society plays in creating this situation?
Firstly, I feel like the first point, what you said about your mindset affecting your body, oh my God, it happened to me. So I am proof of that. And what you said about the studies, it's just astounding and also just so sad. It's so sad that we as a society are doing this, in so many different forms, whether it's from families or whether it's from communities, whether it's from schools or whether it's from social media. I feel that there's so much of this happening where you are judged and then you judge yourself. See, here's the thing. The mindset knows that the voice that's coming from the outside is not their voice, right? Yeah. But it doesn't realize, or you don't realize, when your mind adapts that voice as your own. Yeah. So I'll give you an example. For the longest time, I used to think, somebody must have said this to me, that wearing shorts means you're not of good character. And I took that as my own voice eventually. So when I started living my life as an adult, nobody was there to supervise me then. Nobody was there to tell me not to wear these types of clothes, and only to stick to these types of clothes. But my head, as soon as I put something short on, would say, you're a blah, blah, blah. You look like a blah, blah, blah. So I did that to myself.
Yeah.
So we become that.
Yeah.
We become the thing that sort of, I guess, abused us. And that is the problem that then creates our identity. We're not saying that other people are not going to judge us. Everyone's going to judge you as soon as you walk out the door. I'm not saying that suddenly if you put on a lovely outfit, people are going to be like, oh, this one we're going to spare. We're going to go to the next one and judge her. No. We're all getting judged somewhere or the other. Good, bad, whatever, doesn't matter. But the thing is, are you judging yourself? And that's what I work with. I'm working with people who are judging themselves. Their mirror image is being judged.
Yeah.
And that is causing a problem.
Yeah, I really, really resonate with that, because I remember just being in the supermarket one time and I was waiting for the cashier and I was wearing these boots, and this phrase came into my head in judgment of myself. And then I went, that wasn't my phrase. That was what my grandmother used to say about other people. And I just picked her language up and I was using it against myself. And it wouldn't be the sort of language that I would use ever, but suddenly I heard it in my head, in my voice, as though it was me, everything that you've just said. So I can really resonate with that. And I had to kind of pull myself up and go, hang on a minute, what are you talking about?
And you're aware, it's beautiful that you're actually aware. And you immediately said, wait a second, this is not my thought. Yeah. This is not my voice. Many of us, before the work came in and before we were actually aware or awakened, thought that this was our voice. Yeah. This is how we feel about ourselves.
Yeah. And the inclination to accept a thought as factual truth, when actually it could just be a sort of a random thought that's floating through and there's no truth attached to it whatsoever, but we accept it as truth. So was there a kind of a crossroads? I know you mentioned about your health and kind of feeling like everyone else was zooming on in their life and you were like stuck, but was there a sort of a crossroad moment where you went, right, I've got to do something different here? And what guided your choice in that, if so?
Yes, there was. Yes, there definitely was. I got to a point where health-wise, I was able to move forward in my life. And then I was faced with, okay, so you have no career now and you're almost 40. Now what? And I truly was feeling very down in the dumps, even though health-wise I should be, flying, because I was doing so well, in the one thing that was so important to me. Yeah. And so I thought, oh my God, I'm still down in the dumps because now I have to basically join the world. And guess what? Everyone's moved forward and I'm still where I used to be 20 years ago. And so it really took a toll on me now, emotionally and mentally, I guess, to catch up or to make something of myself. And I thought, how do you see yourself as a leader or a, powerful entrepreneur or whatever it is that you'd want to see yourself as in the future without even believing that that's even possible for you? It's so hard to believe in something that just feels like, but how? You're always going to be, but how? How am I going to do this? Yeah. And so that took me a while to get to where the belief just wasn't coming in. It just wasn't working for me. The manifestation or whatever you want to call it, it just wasn't working. I was doing the inner work, but I'm like, I can't see myself as this powerful person. So how am I going to do this? Because you're in victim mode, for years. So I thought, okay, I can't visualize it. I just cannot. So then I started doing what's called mirror work. A friend of mine, introduced me to mirror work, and I said, okay, I'm willing to try something like that. So it's a visual medium where you try on outfits, clothes that make you feel powerful. And it could be anything. It could be a lipstick. Really, it doesn't have to be something major like a suit or whatever. I started with lingerie.
Yeah.
And that to me was powerful because I had shame regarding my body.
Yeah.
I had shame related to labels that I put on myself, because if I reveal too much of my body, then I'm this or I'm that or whatever, these are the labels that were put on me as a girl. And so I needed to break that cycle and feel powerful in lingerie. And that's so difficult. I started with the hard stuff. It's already
jump right in at the deep end. Yeah.
I mean, just imagine any woman, usually, especially ones that, are beyond 30, like millennial and onwards, are conscious in something that's that revealing, and I'm diving into lingerie.
Yeah, I was thinking when you said the age, as you were approaching 40, that this all sort of unpacked as well, because there's also a lot of societal judgment about, particularly for women, turning 40 as well. And that, I don't know, you're somehow going to be on the shelf or, I don't know, past it in some kind of way. So, you certainly seized the bull by the horns and jumped right in there, didn't you, with the difficult
Helen,
stuff.
I didn't even realize that was happening. I literally just said, I'm going to start with like something, that is more intimate and gives me a visual of my body. And lingerie was the first thing I could think of that gave me an actual visual of my full body without hiding anything.
Yeah.
So it wasn't intentional. Yeah. And then now when I realize it, when I work with people, I'm like, wait, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
I definitely
resonate though with the feeling that good lingerie gives you compared to not like just off the shelf lingerie, shall we say. So I also had a lot of body shame growing up, and I just used to just get anything from Marks and Spencer's. Big nothing wrong with Marks and Spencer's, but I just didn't want beautiful lingerie because it felt too challenging around my body. And then I think it was when I got married, in fact, that the person that was helping me with dress fitting said, "No, you need to wear this." And it was like, oh my goodness, not that anyone could see it, but suddenly I felt completely different inside my body. And it was like, wow, who knew that decent lingerie was going to unlock this, So I totally get, although it's a challenging journey to get to that place, I get the different feeling that you get from, as a result of wearing lingerie and feeling comfortable in that, and how your clothes sit on your body as well.
Yeah,
when you're wearing good lingerie. Yeah.
So powerful. It was like my little secret. My lingerie was beautiful. I felt like I had a spring in my step and nobody knew why.
Amazing.
It was a personal secret. And it's not, like you said, nobody's going to see it.
No.
Unless you do want to show it to someone, they're not going to see it. It's literally just for you. So it felt so powerful that this was for me, because we always talk about, and I always get, I'm always in two minds. I still am with, like, do we dress for society or do we dress for ourselves, or is it a mix of the two? And I believe it's a mix of the two. We never ever not. You walk down the street and somebody tells you you look amazing, it's a boost to our confidence.
Yeah, of course.
So we do dress for other people. I dress for other women, really, not for the men. Yeah. I actually also dress for the little girls who look up and say, "Oh, I want to be like that.
I want to be like that when I grow up." Yeah, rather than the princess Disney kind of image.
Exactly. I want to be
a powerful woman. Yeah, absolutely.
So truly, it is a mix of the two, because it makes me feel powerful as well when I look at myself in the mirror. But truly, the lingerie part, it's just for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Only for you. And it was so powerful. But again, that was my visualization of who I am. I was then able to create a mantra. Now, the fact that the word mantra is used everywhere, and it's so common to say something like that as like, oh, a mantra is an affirmation. It's actually not. It's actually not. A mantra is more powerful than that. A mantra, according to Hindu mythology or scriptures, is actually something that you use that's moving you from one mindset to another.
Okay.
It's almost as if it's an anchor that keeps you in a focused place.
Okay.
So you're giving specific mantras as well. You can't just randomly pick one and start saying it.
Yeah.
So when I do my course, I do this. During my course, I will be like, I think it's week 4 or 5, where we create your own mantra and you get to use that and it's yours. Yeah. You created it. And that's what I used as well. I then the clothing came and then the mantra came. And I said, okay, this is who I am. This is who I truly am. And you know what happened, Helen? There was a little girl inside of me that started coming out and telling me what she wanted to wear.
Amazing.
She started telling me what colors to pick. Because, when you play dress up,
yeah,
that's what I was doing. I was playing dress up as an adult.
Yeah.
And so this little girl was like, yeah. Okay, so we're going to do this and we're going to wear sparkle. And today we're going to be like, mix this and this. And it felt really overwhelming sometimes to be like, no. This I'm going to get judged on. And then I said, okay, so somebody will judge me for a day. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I experimented. So the fun began and never ended.
I was just thinking, oh my goodness, I would love to go on a shopping trip with you.
Oh, it's so much joy. It's so fun. Even now, when some of my friends say things like, they'll send me photos and say, what do you think of this color? I say, what do you think of this color?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because truly what they're asking me is they're asking me permission.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. You need to seek permission from your inner child who truly didn't care. Like if you ever have kids around you or had, kids, like little kids around you at any point, they will pick the wildest things to go with each other. And they have no shame or fear to put it together and go to school.
Yeah, my daughter is a great example of that person. So I remember dropping her off to preschool one day and there was snow on the ground and she was wearing a bikini and wellies because, hey, that's what she felt like wearing that day. And then there was another day, I remember sending my sister a message about it. I said to her, it's going to be dinner in 10 minutes. And she went, oh, I've got to go and get changed. She went upstairs and she came back in this big party dress. And I'm like, oh, it's just like sausages and chips or something. But she got dressed for dinner in her best dress that she could find. She must have been, I don't know, 3, something like that. And so she is that example of complete unapologetic freedom around her self-expression. So I'm fortunate to be surrounded every single day by someone who still at 13 still gets that and still kind of holds on to that side of her.
Oh, I love that story. Thank you for sharing. What a beautiful, but that's what it is. I want the people around me to tap into that. The people who are, 40 and beyond who feel like I'm an adult. No, you're not. You're not. You're telling yourself what you are.
Yeah. We lose trust in ourselves, though, don't we? Yeah. Maybe because of that judgment that we've experienced at some level, or the shame in our body, or, whatever it is that has caused it. But at some point on our journey between being a child and being an adult, we suddenly stop remembering what we like and what brings us joy, and really connecting into that, whether that's through our clothes, whether it's through the things that we do, like how we show up in life, the career that we have. And really, that's what this podcast is all about. It's coming back to that unapologetic version of yourself where you can just go, you know what? This is the thing that brings me joy. And if I want to wear sparkles every day, I'll wear sparkles every day.
Exactly. I love that. And the point is that you said something that's really important, is that you go back into what you love, what you loved as a child, what you love even today. And you don't have to dress like that all the time. I get that. But some version of it, incorporate some version of what you love in your life, And for me, that begins with the joy inside, and that translates into the girl that I see in the mirror and the woman I see in the mirror. And eventually I'm going to start seeing the leader that I want to see, because she is so on point with who she is. She is not afraid to show who she is. Expression of self is so important. We say self-expression, but truly expression of self is so important. And for like Marilyn Monroe is a huge example that I use in this, is that she was so magnetic. That woman, and she wasn't like the most gorgeous woman on earth, but then there's Audrey Hepburn, who was complete opposite of her in terms of style. But when I say those two names, everyone is going to immediately know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
What's the vibration you get?
Yeah.
What is the style you're getting in your mind? The silhouette even. You're even getting the silhouette of these women.
Absolutely. Which isn't necessarily, well, maybe not today, what our culture would say was be the most beautiful silhouette, but those women owned who they are. And, you know, that confidence comes across, and that is so powerful as well.
Yeah, and you work with that. They're not born like that. Trust me.
Yeah.
There's so much, because there was an interview, Audrey Hepburn, where she was like, I don't feel beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to hear this. I do not want to hear this about Audrey. But she said it herself, because somebody said, you were so beautiful. How does it feel to? She's like, I don't feel it. I don't feel beautiful. But she portrays it. You know, she could have fooled you.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's owning that image, isn't it? Absolutely.
Exactly. And that's what I mean, is when I look in the mirror and I'm like, this is who I am. If it's not right now, it's okay.
Yeah.
But in the future, this is who I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I started dressing the way I wanted to see myself.
Yeah.
And maybe it didn't connect immediately, or maybe it does and it makes you feel good, but there's no real connection there. It's okay. It's a work in progress. But if you continue this, then you'll get to a point where you will feel that girl inside of you, that woman inside of you, the leader, whatever you want to call it. And that will become your brand. Because your brand is not your business. I'm sorry, I'm going to repeat that again. Your brand is not your business. Your brand is you. People don't, especially today, people don't buy from you because you are, you know, the most amazing thing on earth. People buy from you depending on what your values are and who you basically represent, how you represent yourself in terms of who you are. Yeah,
absolutely. I was talking to someone the other day who really talks about what you're talking about as a superhero identity. And, you know, whether that's Superman, Wonder Woman, you know, whoever that might be, but really in all aspects of your life, stepping into and owning that superhero identity of who you are. I really like that. So how do you see that fashion helps to elevate our thoughts and our feelings about, you know, about our body image, our confidence, our mindset, all of those aspects of who we are? What's, apart from this sort of creation of that future version of yourself, how else does fashion help to really elevate?
I think firstly, fashion helps us feel a certain way. And I'm going to break it down with fashion psychology. For example, certain colors incite certain feelings inside of us. And incite certain feelings inside of somebody else that's looking at us. So yellow means something, red means something, blue means something. And these meanings, these are all tools that you can apply. For example, if you want to portray a certain image or emotion, then you put it on and that emotion is evoked. So this is a tool that we use, as well as, you know, a feel-good moment that we've created. But it's also a tool that you can use in your daily life. Another thing that I would find is that it gives you a powerful sense of the fact that you have energies inside of you, whether it's masculine or feminine. Energies inside of you. And I'm not talking about gender. I'm literally talking about a human being having two energies, masculine and feminine, both inside of them. And which one you want to invoke in that moment. And that's what clothing does for us, because it is such an expression of our inside on the outside. That you can play with your energies. So let's say you're feeling really low one day and you decide, I'm just going to wear black today. I want to disappear. Or you say to yourself, you know what? I'm low, but I don't want to feel low. So I'm going to pick something yellow out of my outfit. It's going to do that for you. Absolutely.
So true. I particularly find it with lipstick. So I just put
oh my God, I was going to go there.
Yeah, like a bright pink, a bright red, and I'm like,
red. Yes. Oh my God. So red lipstick is a huge component in my teaching. It's because red lipstick for me is just love. I love it. And a lot of people tell me, oh, but what about skin tone? I'm like, I don't care what your color of skin is. I really don't care about your color of skin. Just put on that red lipstick.
Yeah.
Trust me, it elevates how you feel about yourself. You feel so powerful, whether it's sexy, whether it's beautiful, whether it's feminine. It doesn't matter what the adjective is. It makes you feel a certain way.
Yeah, definitely.
Red lipstick is so powerful, as are heels. But I know heels are not,
that's me, basically, like the killer heels, the red lippy.
Yes. And I'm telling you, and there are so many other things we can do. Like, I mean, you're in London, so you would know, is that in the winter, many people are like, I want to wear a mini skirt. So I'm going to put tights on and I'm going to wear a mini skirt. In America, a lot of people would just go straight to jeans. So that's all you see in the winter. So there's that too. Let's be mindful of the fact that we're a little lazy in, invoking these feelings inside of us and other people as well outside of us. So we can elevate our own mindset by just putting something on that is not common.
Yeah.
It's not common. And trust me, things like earrings, accessories can bring up your mood immediately. So I feel like not just powerful incense of, I'm going to do this because you're going to feel this way about me. That's a given. But I want to feel this way about myself. And so many of us hide ourselves away because we feel like at a certain age, we're supposed to dress our age. I have no idea still what that even means. What does it mean to dress your damn age? I don't know what that means.
I think it's going back to your childhood. Like, the older you get, the more skin you should cover up.
So crazy. What do you mean dress my age? They're just clothes.
Yeah.
Who gets to tell me what okay, so I'm 43 now. Please tell me how I'm meant to age.
It's a bit like the children's clothes in the shop. Like, these are like the 0 to 5-year-olds. And then you get to the other end, the 43 to 48-year-old clothes.
Oh my God. And your identity is nowhere to be seen, right?
Yeah.
So I say to people, please dress your identity. Dress who you want to express as yourself. And so many things are you. You may be a painter, and that day you're wearing, something really comfortable. You may be, I don't know, a cello player, and that day you want to wear a lovely, pretty dress while you. So you are so many things.
Yeah.
So what I help also with is wardrobe. I will stream down your wardrobe. We will get rid of things that you don't want in there anymore. And also mindful shopping. That is a huge help as well. When you go into your closet and you say, I don't know what to wear, or I don't have anything to wear, it's so defeating. Immediately, you've put yourself in a defeatist mode and you don't want to get dressed anymore. Now you're just going to grab whatever feels right.
And you're in the jeans, aren't you?
Yes, exactly. That's what you're going to do. And I don't want that for any woman that I work with. I just don't want that for them. I want them to go into their closet and be like, oh my God, I have so many choices. I'm spoiled for choices. But that also happens with mindful shopping. You've gone into that mode of shopping with a agenda. What is my self-expression? And does this align that? If it doesn't, then it looks lovely, but I think I'll get tired of it, or I think I'll stuff it in the back of my closet eventually. So truly realizing what and who you want to show up as.
Yeah, definitely. Totally get that. So just winding back, we started talking about how your health had kind of taken a bit of a downturn, and that the journey meant that you got into understanding about fashion and color and what that meant. So bringing it round to today now, how has your health and your well-being evolved through this personal transformation journey? And do you think there's a correlation between your confidence and your health, or just a happy coincidence that they've both improved?
Yes, there is a correlation. According to me, when I stepped into a mindset of I am powerful and I have influence, and that could be influence over people, influence over myself, influence in general. I have influence in the world. I immediately went into thinking of myself as having choices.
Yeah.
That is so powerful to feel that I have choices rather than I'm stuck. I don't have any choices. I'm in survival mode.
Yeah. Definitely.
So when I went into, I have choices, I can choose to wake up with a feeling that I'm important and I'm going to dress that way and I'm going to Go outside and make that impression.
Yeah.
That in itself is so powerful because I chose to do that.
Yeah.
Instead of default. I chose to do that. And that in itself just gave me power now to choose what my mind is going to say about my health.
Yeah.
So now I get to decide what my health is going to be. And I'm telling you, it's all manifestation from me.
Yeah.
For me personally. But the manifestation can't happen if you can't see yourself.
Yeah. You have to have that
to
vision.
Be able to. Exactly. The visual is just, if I want to see myself dancing, what am I wearing?
Yeah.
What am I wearing while I'm dancing? That's the first thing. Let's just say you see yourself on a stage giving a TED talk, right? Like a powerful image of yourself. The first thing I'm going to ask you is, what are you wearing?
Amazing. That's so true though, isn't it? To really put yourself in that place and to sort of see the faces in the crowd, like see what you're wearing, everything about, even the smell, like what perfume you're wearing, everything like that. So yeah, I love that. So
it's so powerful. And perfume, by the way, you can have different perfumes as well for different images of yourself. So if you want to be like, I don't know, delicate, you have a different perfume for that. That evokes that inside of you, just as the lipstick would, just as the heels would.
Yeah. Love it. Really love it. So what one big message do you want people to take away from this conversation today and what you do in the world and the changes that you're making in the world, the waves, the ripples that you're making? What's the big message that you want people to take away?
The message that I've learned is what I'd like to give is that you are so powerful. Everything you say in your head, I know that a lot of us, myself included, didn't believe that because they're just words. They're not words. You are casting spells.
Like that.
You truly are casting spells. Whatever spell you want to cast, be truly mindful of that.
Yeah. Even when people have told you that you're not powerful or that you have to look a certain way, be a certain way, actually you get to write your own spells, not their spells. Yeah. I love that.
And show up that way. And I mean, Cinderella, right? It was a spell and she looked fabulous on that day. But that's what you're doing. You are your Cinderella story. You basically are taking yourself from someone that doesn't feel worthy to someone that feels absolutely stunning in who you are, at least in the mirror. The rest will follow. But at least in the mirror, in that moment, you're going to say, I'm so fabulous.
Amazing.
And that is the spell you're casting.
Yeah.
And that, by the way, has a ripple effect, whether it's your health, whether it's your well-being, whether it's your dating life, whether it's your business. It's all a ripple effect on how you look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah. I love that. And thank you so much for this conversation. I think I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours, and I'm definitely up for a shopping trip with you for sure. So yeah, thank you so much for this conversation today. It's been awesome. It's been so insightful as to how we can use something that seems as it's just simple, just clothes, but actually how we can really use that as another tool in our armory to becoming an apologetic version of ourselves and to owning all of that power and strength and amazingness that we each have inside of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Becoming Unapologetically Me. Make sure you subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts so you never miss an episode.